Hi you guys, my name is Cyan and welcome back to my YouTube channel and welcome to another episode of Bookmas. This video is exciting because I am doing a 24-hour readathon. These are some of my favorite videos to watch and to film because they're so much fun. Fun fact though, I did try to do this yesterday and then as it turns out I just had a million and one things that had to be done, so I didn't end up reading for long. Not to mention I should have known it was going to be a bad start because I started reading a book and 30 minutes into it I fell asleep. So we're starting over. Okay, that is the past Cyan. I am a new woman today, and I'm gonna just finish reading a book that I already picked up the other day, and that is Haunting Beauty. This is by Loraine and Meghan. I'm not gonna lie to you, I did have trouble picking out what I wanted to read yesterday, but on the back of this one, it says that someone meets his mate in an insane asylum. So that did pique my interest when I read the back, and in this book we are following Adalia. She is a writer. She wrote a very famous, like, ghost why choose romance. As it turns out though, she can actually see ghosts herself and people think she's crazy. So she gets sent to this asylum, but it's actually an asylum for supernatural beings to help them come into their powers. So she's there going to therapy, trying to learn how to deal with her being able to see ghosts and stuff, and that is where she meets multiple men, one of which is a pirate, specifically Captain Hook. So like that was a little weird. Another one can turn into a dragon. There's also one that like turned into a beast with horns and stuff like that. And then who was the other guy? The Lost Soul. I don't remember what he does, but anyways, she meets multiple guys and immediately with all of these characters, there's just so much sexual attraction. And you know what? I can do insta lust and insta love and stuff like that, but every single time we're in any of these characters' heads, it is like purely lustful thoughts, and that's kind of getting a little bit annoying to me. Also, the first time our main female character meets all of these men, she goes to her room and she pleasures herself to the thought of them. Now, this is really weird in my opinion because I was just thinking about what if I, as a woman, you know, there's a lot of men I've met in passing in my life, I've worked with and stuff, and what if the minute they met me, they went home and whacked their willy to the thought of me? That doesn't sit right with me. I actually talked to my husband about how weird I thought that was, and he told me that he guarantees a man has probably done that, and now I'm just wondering how is it possible for me to avoid all men in any circumstances. But that is something that definitely threw me off while reading this book. It is very lusty, obviously. The writing style for itself, though, does kind of remind me of Zodiac Academy in the way that it is pretty raunchy. So, like, I can laugh at it and I can have fun with it, but would I recommend this? Not really. And am I loving it? Not really, because sometimes it's just too goofy and, like, too much going on. Another thing is that she wears book lingo. Like, she wears the sweater that says STFUATT DLAGG. I think that's correct. She wears a sweater that says that, and like, I don't know why, but to me, like, that cringed me out. Like, I don't think that needs to be in a book. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like too picky about it or whatever. I don't know. It's just really cringing me out. But still, like I said, I am able to laugh at it and find some kind of enjoyment in it. So I am gonna keep reading it. I am actually, how much did I get through this? Because I read it on my Kindle. If you saw on Goodreads that I started reading this book and you see this cover, for some reason Goodreads didn't have the option to change the cover over to this one, so don't judge for the cover, but you're free to judge on the inside because honestly it's not fantastic. Anyways, I'm on chapter 14, so I still have a good bit to go. Let's power through this catastrophe of a story. Okay, so let's talk about it because I'm finally finished with Haunting Beauty. This book was interesting to say the least. It was definitely not anything to take serious. Like I mentioned earlier, it was pretty raunchy. There was a good bit of smut in here and it was very insta-lovey. So like those are things I don't typically love in a book. And in this one, it was heavy in there, okay? The fantasy side to it was a little bit confusing too. Like yes, we had, well, not confusing, I just don't understand why this was included. So we did have a bunch of supernatural beings, like we had vampires, she obviously can see ghosts, and then we had a dragon, we had the beast, we had all these things, right? And then we had Captain Hook. Why? Another thing is Jack the Ripper. They do know that that was real, right? Like that's not a supernatural made up being. Jack the Ripper was a real serial killer that they never caught. I would hope so, but I'm just confused on the mix. Why is there a real serial killer, Captain Hook from a fairy tale, and then all these other random supernatural characters? I feel like they had to have been giggling while writing this, saying like this is a joke, and that's why they wrote it. I will say it's not absolutely terrible because of the fact that I kind of read it to laugh at it and I didn't have the worst time, but it's definitely not something I would highly recommend or anything like that. And it's not something that I'm going to continue the series because this is a series because of just how lustful it is. I'm someone that I do like a good bit of smut and lust in a book, but I like there to be an even balance to where there is a plot. And in here, the plot was just all of these dudes fighting for her. I also struggle to like, there's one character and there's like multiple people who are obsessed with this character. And I don't mean that, oh, they just like her and they're kind of fighting over her. I mean, they would like die and kill for her. Be so for real. There's no one on this earth that is that great. Like, move on and find someone else if you're in competition with all these people. But again, it's fake. It's not real. It just is absurd. But it wasn't terrible. I am gonna just have to give it like a 3-star though. Maybe a 2.5. Well, no, I don't even want to say 2.5. I would say 3 because I feel like when I don't like a book, I give it a 2.5. And yeah, I've been talking kind of negatively about this, but like I said, I wasn't bored. I was giggling. It just wasn't good. So like a 3? I actually kind of hate having to rate books, but this is what I've signed up for. So that is this one. Now I honestly have no clue what to read. You're being so dang cute right now. I'm going to finish up a book that I'm in the middle of. So I'm going to finish up How My Neighbor Stole Christmas. I don't think I have much left of it and I'm enjoying it so far. It's making me laugh and it's kind of getting to that point in the night where I just want to laugh. So I'm going to read that one, finish it up on my e-reader. Before we do that though, I totally almost forgot to tell you guys that we are 21 minutes. No, 21 hours. No, we have 21 hours left of the readathon, so we have made it 3 hours through. There we go, Cyan. Hello you guys, so it's the next day and last night I did actually finish up reading My Neighbor Who Stole Christmas by Meghan Quinn. The thing is though is that I finished at literally like 2 a.m. so that's why I didn't jump in straight away. But on the good news, I did take a screenshot just in case. So yeah, it was 1:55 in the morning, but I do have 16 hours and 52 minutes left, so basically 17 hours left to read. I'm not going to be able to do that all today because I'm getting a late start. It's currently almost 4 p.m. and we're about to have dinner. First, let's talk about the book. In this one, we are following Story. Story's aunt is actually injured, so she goes over to stay with her and take care of her for a little bit. She lives in a town that is pretty much celebrating Christmas like all year round, but it's actually Christmas time, and during Christmas time they have like a little pageant, and whoever wins gets called the Christmas Kringle. I don't know either. But when she goes there, she decides to compete in the Christmas Kringle to kind of make her aunt happy. And after her neighbor finds out that that's what she's doing, he also decides to compete because he wants to beat her. Why, you may ask? Because they actually knew each other from when they were younger, and she would go visit her aunt. He is her aunt's neighbor, and so something bad happened between them when they were younger, and it's years later, and he kind of wants to get back at her. It's kind of like a petty little grudge that they have against each other. And as they start competing, they're like also forming a connection, but there's like good funny banter in this book. It's fun. I liked the competitions that they had and stuff like that. It's just, I'm not a huge fan of the cheesy type of books. Like, it's a holiday rom-com though, so I kind of knew what to expect when going into it, and I'm not going to judge it too harshly. I just think, number one, it was a little bit too long for what it should have been, and number two, they move at a fast rate. It's a little insta-lovey, but like I said, I expected that. And number three is that, like, it was cringy. Did I already say that? I'm sure I have. I'm not judging it too harshly, but it is just gonna be like a 3-star for me because I did have fun. And it's not like the worst Christmas holiday romance. I say that, but it's the only one I've ever read. But still, I enjoyed my time with it. I'm not mad at it. But now I'm actually going to pick up our next read, and you guys will see that video before this one, but I did go to the bookstore today because I have no self-control, and I decided to buy some more books. And of course, like, I want to read one of the ones that I just bought because it's sitting heavy on my heart. So I've decided for my next read, I'm going to pick up The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. All I know is that it's like a mystery, a murder mystery, and apparently she was murdered at a masquerade ball. So I feel like it's gonna be old-timey and maybe like fun, you know? It feels like it's gonna be giving Clue. So yeah, let's jump into it. So obviously I have been reading for the past couple of hours. It is actually 9:23 and we have 14, almost 15 hours left on our timer. So I didn't get to read much at all today, but I did make it to page 118 in The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. And basically what happens in this book is there's a guy named Aiden. Aiden ends up attending a ball at Evelyn Hardcastle's house. Evelyn ends up dying. So what happens is Aiden, let me just read you this. It says, Evelyn Hardcastle will be murdered at 11 p.m. There are 8 days and 8 witnesses for you to inhabit. We will only let you escape once you tell us the name of the killer. So basically Aiden is jumping from body to body to body every single night at midnight of people who also attended this masquerade ball, and it's up to him to try and figure out what happened and who the killer is, and that's the only way he can leave the castle. I don't know what the consequences are going to be if he doesn't figure it out in the 8 days, obviously, because I'm not finished with it, but I will say it's a very interesting read. I like the premise of it a lot. That's all I really have for you. I am going to quit reading for the day because, like I said, it's 9:30. It is time for me to shower and get into bed because I have work tomorrow, so hopefully I will be able to read a lot more tomorrow. We will just have to see. This is definitely going to be more of a realistic 24-hour reading vlog because, let's be so real, it is not realistic to read 24 hours straight or to pull an all-nighter, or even like the way I do it sometimes where it's 12 hours one day, 12 the next, or even 8 hours for 3 days. I set time aside when I do those. I've used them on long work weekends or something like that. It's not realistic if you have a lot of things planned, a lot of errands, or even work. Like tomorrow I'm gonna have work, so this is definitely gonna be a more obtainable 24-hour readathon, and I probably will end up reading a little bit of this while I'm laying in bed. And I'm not gonna show you guys though. I'm just gonna start the timer and read in bed comfortably, and then tomorrow I'll update you with how much I was able to read. Hi everyone, so it's the next day. Funny thing, it is actually 8:50 p.m. I did read a little bit today, but if I'm gonna be honest, I had to DNF this book, so I didn't read for long. I think I was like maybe 30% of the way through, and I decided to DNF because it just felt boring. It felt like we were going in circles. It did start to get very repetitive with our main character jumping from body to body to mind, body, reliving the same day. And honestly, some things in this book were just pretty confusing too. And I ended up looking up spoilers and reviews, and it's one of those things where you're given little bits and pieces here and there, and then it all kind of makes sense at the end, but also people hated the ending of it. So I feel pretty sound in my decision to DNF this. It's just unfortunate because the premise of it sounded really intriguing and I was hoping it was going to be good, but obviously that wasn't the case. From that little bit I read, I don't know where I left you off last night with, but I now have 14 hours left still. I think we're on like day 3 or 4 now of this reading challenge, but it's fine. I'm tired, so I'm going to get ready for bed. Probably won't do any reading tonight if I'm being honest, because I want to watch Love Island Australia. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and I'll see you guys tomorrow, okay? We have 14 hours left. We're going to try to get as much done tomorrow as we can. As you guys saw, I decided for my next read to pick up The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata. I have only read 2 books by her, but I just really love her writing. If you like slow burn romances, you will love them. They literally never get together until like the 80 to 90% part of the book. Sometimes it's literally like 97% is when they'll get together, and somehow she makes the story interesting. In this one in particular, we are following Aiden and Vanessa. Aiden is actually a pro football player and Vanessa is his assistant. He is very, very grumpy, so she ends up quitting her job, and then Aiden comes back around and he's like, I need you back because my visa is about to expire and I want you to marry me for citizenship, because he's originally from Canada. That's what's going on in this one, and it's, I mean, there's not much else to it. As always, I love her writing so much, but one thing I've noticed in particular in this book is that Aiden, of course, as I've said, is a football player, but he is also very big, right? Like football players normally are. And the thing is it is brought up 1,010,000 times in this book just how big he is. I'll give her credit though, because the way she says it is she's not just saying, oh, he's big over and over and over again, but she describes how big he is. So like it's different, but still we get the point. Literally in like the first 20 pages of reading this, I noticed how much she called him big, and I thought, well, maybe he'll taper off a little bit. We're still going. But besides that, I'm liking it. I don't think it's going to be one of my favorite Mariana Zapata books, but I do like her characters. She does this thing where she really does do a great inner monologue with her characters, where I find it typically kind of funny and very realistic to what I would think as a person in real life, because you know, like, even if you're the most sunshiny person, inside you're probably a little bit negative at times and mean. So that's what I like about her characters. Really only getting Vanessa's point of view, which, side note, if she did dual point of views, I think I would like these books so much better, because it would just add to the tension and the chemistry. But it is a little bit harder to fully understand our male love interest, Aiden, because I don't know what he's actually like. I don't know what his thoughts are like. We're just seeing him through Vanessa's eyes, but I do see some like acts of service that I'm liking in there. But anyways, it's going good. So yeah, I'm just gonna continue. This is part of the reason why I like to do my 24-hour readathons in like the span of 2 or 3 days, because I'm so bad at keeping up with my timer. I accidentally fell asleep last night with my timer still going. I don't know how long I was asleep for, but it says I have 6 hours left, and that's just not feasible, because the last time I remember I left off at 14 hours. It did not take me 8 hours to read 200 and something pages. That's no shade to you if it would take you 8 hours to read that. I'm just saying, for me as a reader, that's not likely. So the conclusion that I have come to is that I am just going to finish this book up and then start and finish one more book for this readathon, and I'm calling it a day, because to be honest, I am so over it at this point. So that's the plan. It's also my life and my video, so I'm gonna do what I want to. Anyways, let's continue reading. Hello everyone, it's the next day and I have actually ended up finishing The Wall of Winnipeg and Me. I finished this yesterday. It's not my favorite book from her, but I still really did enjoy my time with it. I think the grumpiness of the characters was fine and fun. The story, I mean, it never really felt dragged out or anything like that, so that's always a good thing too. It's just one of those where it's not very memorable or anything like that. I don't think it's really gonna stick with me, and I can't say that it's my favorite book by her, but like I said, there's nothing wrong with it in particular, except for the fact that she really did mention how big this man was over and over and over again, which was driving me a little bit nuts. But I've already mentioned that, so let's just not talk about that anymore. So I think I'm gonna give it like a 3.75 because there's nothing wrong with it. I enjoyed my time. It's just not the best Mariana book in my opinion. This is only the third I've read, but still, those are my thoughts on it. And I just want to leave you with a question with this one. If a man offered you a house and to pay off your student debt to just marry him, and he was a pro football player that was attractive, would you even have any questions about it, or would you just be like, yes, absolutely? Because I know for damn sure that I would say yes in a heartbeat. I guess our main characters are like more morally sound than I am, because she really had to think about it. It took like over 100 pages before she finally said yes to marrying this man. If you think I'm joking about the slow burn in her books, I'm not. They are the slowest of burns. But anyways, I also did pick up my final book for the video. I picked this up last night. It is The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Ali Carter. This cover is just so cute in my opinion. It's like, I don't know, a little goofy but like cute at the same time. And I have heard fantastic things about it. It is a Christmas mystery, like murder mystery type of book. Apparently it's like Knives Out, but there's also a romance in here. I am about actually over 50% of the way through it already. I didn't realize that. But in this book we are following Maggie and Ethan, and they also have like known each other for a few years, so they're actually like workplace rivals. They don't really get along, and they end up having to go during Christmas time to like this work event at an author's house. It's an author that Maggie really loves. So they're there, and then all of a sudden it turns into like a murder mystery thing. I'm not going to give you anything else. The one thing that is really making me not like this that much is the fact that the reason why they are rivals is definitely the miscommunication trope, and like we as readers know that it's a huge miscommunication the second it is brought up in the beginning of the book. Like I just knew automatically that that's what it was going to be, but it's still again one of those like goofy, funny, Christmassy books, and I figured why not fit another Christmas book into the reading vlog. So I'm gonna try my darnest to finish this up as fast as possible, because fun fact, it is literally Saturday, December 14th at 1:57, and this video is going to go up today, and I haven't even started editing it, so we're in a rush to say the least. Let's just get into it. If this video is posted at like 10 p.m., you know why. I can finally say that I have officially finished reading The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year, as well as our 24-hour readathon. If I'm being honest, I feel like I probably read for more than 24 hours, but that's fine. We're still here. We finished. And I actually did end up listening to most of the audiobook of this while I started editing this video that you're currently watching. So I can confirm that I think the audiobook might be the way to go with this book, because it just added so much more depth to the characters' voices, as well as in here there are some police transcripts, and it was really interesting to hear that rather than trying to keep up with that in my mind. And overall though, I did like the story. I think that it's fun for like a Christmas mystery slash thriller if you're looking for something like that instead of just your typical romances. However, it is still pretty heavy on the romance side of things. I did like our characters' banter. If you've read this book, then you know our main character Ethan, he will just randomly ask if she wants to make out, and like you have to read it to understand. Like that's funny, you know, that's top tier humor. But whenever they started to actually end up together, it did start to get a little cheesy to me, but still I'm not going to judge it too hard. I had fun while reading it, and that's that. I am going to say though it's like a 3.5 just because it's not a book I'm going to go back to or really ever think about, but it was fun while it lasted, you know? So that is this one, and this is normally the part where I would do a wrap up of all the books that I read, but I really have to get editing this video, and also you guys just watched all of my thoughts and opinions and ratings, so If you already forgot, I can't help you there. But that is it. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts and opinions if you have read any of these books. I hope you all have a great rest of your week and reading week. Well, weekend as of now. But I will see you all in the next Bookmas video. Bye!